The key to attracting a feminine woman and maintaining a relationship with her long term is understanding the masculine and feminine energy dynamic. And unless you understand this correctly, you're only going to find yourself attracting women that have masculine energy. And you might think, why is that? And the reason for that is this. Look, I've personally been a victim of this myself, but I've overcome this, right? And I'm now helping coaching clients that are currently in this position where they keep finding themselves attracting women that might look beautiful, but they've got more masculine energy than feminine energy. And it's because of the man, right? If you have more feminine energy as a man, then you're only going to attract the opposite, right? Because opposites attract. And unless you override this, unless you overcome this, you're only going to find yourself getting in relationships with these types of women, women that you don't want to be in long-term relationships with, or any relationship for that matter. So I'm going to help you overcome this. I'm going to share exactly what you need to pay attention to in order for you to attract a woman that you actually want to be in a relationship with. So let's get into it. Now, I'm going to explain to you what's called the polarity table. Okay, so on the left here, we've got feminine energy, and on the right, we've got masculine energy. And I'm going to show you how one complements another. So let's look at women here, right? Feminine energy. A feminine woman can be emotional, right? She can get overwhelmed by her emotions. She sometimes talks, out of feelings. And that's understandable. We know that women are hardwired that way, right? Especially feminine women. They're more or less, very emotional creatures. So essentially, what that feminine woman is looking for is a man that's grounded with his emotions, right? A man that's not emotional. Because that's the problem. If you're a man that's emotional and you're not in control of your own emotions, that's where you'll find yourself attracting a masculine woman, right? Essentially, again, as I said earlier, opposites attract. So this sort of woman is looking for a man that's calm and logical. He's grounded with his emotions. He can place firm boundaries. He reassures her he's her rock, right? When she's having her emotional roller coaster or she's going through emotions, he can calm her down. He doesn't get triggered, right? Because he's in control of his own emotions. And that's the masculine energy complementing the feminine energy. He holds frame, he doesn't react. And this is very important because a lot of men, especially in this modern day society, are not in control of their own emotions. So they're not able to handle a woman's emotions, right? And that's why you'll find yourself attracting the total opposite. So if you're not in control of your own emotions, you're going to attract a woman who's literally an emotional disaster to deal with, right? One that has masculine energy. But the feminine woman is looking for the man that's grounded, essentially the man that can be, the rock in her life, so to speak. So it is very important to understand as a man, if you want to attract this type of woman, you need to make sure that your emotions are in check, all right? So therefore you can counteract her emotional needs. Let's look on to the next thing. So we've got here nurturing and caring. So the feminine woman, she's very nurturing. When you're sick, she knows how to look after you. She can cook, she can clean. And essentially what she's looking for in a man is a man that's protective, a man that can provide security, safety, a man that can protect the family, protect her if something goes wrong, who can literally step in front of an intruder and do some damage. That's what the feminine woman is looking for. She doesn't want to be with a man that's scared, a man that runs away, right? I'm not saying you have to be a complete badass, but what you need to be is a man that's able to stick up for yourself, stick up for your woman, provide her safety. When you have kids, when you have children, are you going to be the protector in the household? You need to make sure that you are that individual if you want to be with a feminine woman. And I got here 50-50. What I mean by that is this. If you're going to expect to go 50-50 with your woman in terms of splitting the bills and doing all that 50-50 modern day bullshit, what's going to happen is she's not going to respect you essentially, right? She's looking for a man that can provide. So you need to essentially be a man that can lead the relationship, right? In terms of finances, safety, security, all these things. You need to lead in every dimension as a man, especially if you want a feminine woman. Because the opposite of that is a masculine woman. And none of us men want to be in a relationship with these types of women. So essentially, 50-50 is not even an option, right? I understand that if times are tough for certain individuals and you have to go 50-50 right now, fair enough. But essentially, you should be, as a man, working your way towards freeing your family, freeing your partner, being at least, splitting the dynamics, 70-30 at least for now, till you can completely go 100%. and look after her, right? Because essentially that's a sign of dominance. That's a sign that you're leading. Because essentially if you send her to work, if you let her spend 8 hours a day at work or 9 hours or 10 or whatever that might be, you can't expect her to have these nurturing, caring tendencies, right? When you're sick, you can't expect her to cook and clean and do all these things because you're sending her to work. Your duty as a man to protect, to provide, especially financially, you need to be in a position, even if you're not there yet, to be working yourself up to that position where you can provide for your partner, provide for your family. It is a very attractive trait to a woman where a man's literally in control of his finances, or he's working towards that. So you can essentially let her tap into her feminine energy and be a feminine woman. If you want a woman that's nurturing and caring, you need to be a man that's providing. That's a non-negotiable. Now let's move on to the next one, free spirit. So a feminine woman will be a free spirit. What I mean by that is this. Have you ever heard the saying, girls just want to have fun? It's a song. That's how girls are, right? Feminine women just want to have fun. And it's not bad at all. I actually quite like it. So the opposite of that is a masculine man or a man with masculine energy is focused on his mission, right? He's very disciplined. He's got routine. He's got purpose. He's striving towards more. He wants to leave that legacy behind, right? He doesn't want to take the easy way out. You can see how that's opposite, right? Even my partner, she likes to relax. She likes to sleep in. When we go to certain places, she likes to swim by the pool. She likes to, eat certain foods. And I'm totally cool with that. I like her sleeping in, going, hanging by the pool, doing whatever she wants, go to get her nails done, go get her hair done. I really, truly, it doesn't bother me at all. I actually like that. While I'm working, while I'm focusing on my mission, while I'm self-disciplined with my routine, if she wants to take a day off from the gym and go sit by the pool and relax and go read a book and do whatever she wants to do as a feminine woman, I'm totally for that. I understand that. And I like her, being in her feminine energy and doing whatever she feels like in that sense, because I understand female nature and feminine women are like this. Because essentially, I don't want my partner to work. I don't want my partner to do whatever I'm doing. Let me take care of the hard stuff. Let her relax and chill and enjoy life, right? And that's our duty as men, right? If you're a man that has masculine energy, you're focused on your mission, your purpose, your grind, leaving that legacy behind, right? You don't need your woman to do the same thing. So essentially, if you're that individual that's self-disciplined, she's going to be a free spirit and you need to be okay with that, right? So that's something that you probably are not aware of, but women are like this, especially feminine women. Right? All women in general want to have fun, but essentially feminine women, they just want to relax, they want to sleep in, they want to just live life on easy mode, right? Trapped in their little fairy tale, and that's fine. I want my missus to stay in that fairy tale bubble for as long as she can. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I'm happy to take on the duties as a man of working, providing, focusing on my mission, but essentially I wanted to also have fun in the process, right? So let's look at attention, okay? A feminine woman is going to seek attention. So when she seeks attention, right, wanting attention from her man, the man doesn't need to seek attention from her, right? A man that has a strong masculine energy, he's self-validated with his attention, right? He doesn't need to go chasing attention. He attracts the attention. He's someone that has self-love. He has confidence. Because if you pay attention to here, because he's got routine, purpose, he's disciplined, he's self-validated. You can see how these two correlate with one another. He doesn't need any validation. He doesn't need his missus to say, oh, I love you so much. Yeah, it's nice to hear those words time to time, but he's not expecting this all the time because he knows that she cherishes him dearly, right? He knows this because he's already validated with his own feelings. He already knows that he's on top of the world. He loves himself. He's confident. He's got charisma. He already knows he has these quality or traits towards him that the opposite is a woman who seeks attention. He can complement that woman, right? Essentially, he can be that person to give her that attention. He doesn't need that attention back. Yes, it's nice to get attention time to time as a man. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is she seeks attention and he's self-validated, right? And that's a big opposite. But a lot of guys who don't have, any mission focus or they don't have any purpose, they're not driven by anything, they're not self-disciplined, that's when they get caught up in their own little validation, right? They want validation from a woman, for her to say, I love you, I need you, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't need to hear that, right? Essentially, I know because I'm showing up for myself that I'm putting in the work. I already love myself. I love what I see in the mirror. I know she's gonna feel the same way. What a lot of guys get, fall into the trap of, they're just seeking attention consistently. So if she's seeking attention and he's seeking attention, guess what happens? You end up clashing. And that brings me to my next point, which is follower. So feminine woman wants to follow, right? That's how she's biologically hardwired. Women follow, men lead, okay? You need to be the leader of yourself, the relationship, your family, the household. You need to be in charge as a man, okay? It is non-negotiable because you're the one that's making decisions essentially when you're a man that has masculine energy. She just wants to relax, make sure that her man's got it. She doesn't want to think. She doesn't want to do any of that, right? When there's a problem that arises, whatever that might be, let's say something goes wrong within the house, something goes wrong within the car. She wants to make sure that her man can just come up with quick solutions and just solve that problem, right? That's what you have to do as a man. Even if you don't know how to fix it, you just get on top of it. You find out, you Google and say, okay, cool, I need to get this person to come in and fix this problem. She wants to know that a man's got it, not a man to go, oh, I don't know, what should we do? This is what women hate, right? The moment you do that, you're gonna switch the dynamic in the relationship, or this type of woman that has feminine energy is not going to be highly attracted to you. She's going to start losing that genuine burning desire, right? So as a man, you need to be able to be solving problems, right? You need to fix things. You need to come up with solutions real quick. That's what I say, as a man, you need to make sure that you're well-rounded in different areas. So you make sure you solve problems, not create problems. But essentially that's all she wants. She just wants to follow your lead. She just wants to trust you. Whatever you come up with, she wants to just listen to you and she'll just be like, yep, cool, all right, that's fine. My man just solves everything. That's what she'll tell her friends, right? She'll be like, no, my guy's good. He solves all the problems in the house. Like whatever goes wrong, he just solves it, and that's very attractive to a woman, right? That's the way that they're hardwired, so understand that. And this brings me to my last point, which is impulsive. Now, this type of woman will sometimes say things out of her mouth without thinking. She might say things without logic, without reasoning behind them. And it might not even make sense. But here's where a lot of guys go wrong. They just tend to agree with whatever the woman says because they don't want to start an argument or, disagree with her or whatever it might be. So they just play that Mr. Nice Guy because they just don't want to start any problems. However, what this woman is looking for is a man that is very intentional, a man that has boundaries, a man that can put her in her place. And that's essentially what the masculine man does. And me personally, I've been through this before, even with my current relationship. My partner might say something without thinking that doesn't make sense. Or she might be like, can I go here? Or can we do this? Or whatever it might be. And I'll just say, no, we're not doing this. Or no, we're not doing that. Or no, I'm not coming with you I'm not going to come with you to go shopping. I need to go do this. I've got my routines. I've got my purpose. I've got things I need to do. But I will spend time with you later, right? That's why I let her know that I will spend uninterrupted time with her. However, I don't agree with everything she says, right? I don't. I put her back in her place and I'm not scared to do this because I know I show up for myself. I have this strong masculine presence, this energy, because I built this and I maintain this. So I'm able to put these sort of boundaries in place without worrying. And she just agrees with me. She just ends up just being like, you know what? You're right. And she sees eye to eye with me in the end because I always state why I think that way or why I feel that way. And she doesn't disagree with me. We don't have arguments like that. She might say something, I'll correct her, I'll put her in her place, and she just leaves it at that, right? And that's what masculine men do. They don't agree with everything the woman says. So a lot of guys go wrong like that. They try to play that, Mr. Nice Guy and try to impress the woman and happy life, happy wife, happy life. And that's just a load of bullshit, right? As a man, you need to be very grounded and firm with your boundaries and no means no. That way, when you do this, she doesn't test you again in future, right? She knows, okay, damn, I'm not going to mess with him because he's serious. Because she knows if she messes around or she crosses those boundaries again, guess what the masculine man does? He doesn't take any more of her bullshit, right? The door is there. If you want to take your shit, you can go, right? Essentially, that's how the masculine man operates. Because he's so mission focused, he doesn't want any unnecessary drama coming his way. He wants a woman that has positive spirit, positive energy. But this sort of feminine woman who sometimes says things without, thinking, with no logic behind it. She's maybe due to her innocence or fairy tale, bubble that she's living in. She might say some things that just don't make sense, that don't add up. And that's where the masculine man, he comes into play. He puts boundaries in place. He says whatever he thinks. And she just respects that. She's got more respect for that guy than the guy that just agrees with everything that she says, right? So pay very close attention to that. This is the polarity table, right? You can start with this. Pay very close attention to this. Take a screenshot if you like, because this is literally a lot of game right here. And when you're this person, when you're this masculine type of man, you're only going to attract this sort of woman. So essentially, if you look over here, this is your masculine energy as a man, your masculine frame. Again, your masculine frame is you leading through clarity, substance, calmness, authority, purpose. That is your overall masculine frame as a man. If you want to build this masculine frame, if you're sick of either being single and getting matched up with the wrong types of women, and you want to attract a feminine woman, you must be this individual, right? And I can help you get there. This is what I'm helping my existing coaching clients with. So if you need that help, if this is something that you want to overcome, you're sick of just, getting in relationships with women that have masculine energy, women that have trauma, women that are broken, whether you're even going through a breakup right now, this is where I come into play. I've been through this personally myself, so I know exactly how to fix this. I can help you get there in a short amount of time. So you can click the link down below. You can book a free one-to-one coaching call with me, and I'll see if you're the right fit for my program. So look, I'm going to end this here. I hope this all made sense to you. It's pretty straightforward, pretty clear to understand. And look, if you resonate with what I'm saying, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me, keep making more content around certain things that I've been through. If you want to drop down in the comments, so please do, it always helps the algorithm. Share your comments down below and like the video. I'd really appreciate it. But look, I'm ending the video here. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.